Calaroga Shark Media.
Ramy Youssef, I see what you're doing. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight at the Oscars the other night, Ramy was asked about Taylor Swift attending one of his stand-up shows and what it was like, and if he got to meet her, and he said, I did! I got to hang out with Taylor a few times. She's incredibly kind, really funny, easily could hang in comedy. You think? Because I don't agree. Do you need proof, Ramy? Here, listen to this joke.
Big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL. On the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift.
Taylor made a stone face to that. Taylor could not easily hang in comedy at all. The interviewers were surprised that Ramy thought that Taylor could hang in comedy, and he answered why. Timing. Music's timing, and she's just got that kind of timing. She's got time to seemingly murder Joe Coy's career, I'll tell you that much. Conan O'Brien's TV show is actually going to premiere. I know we've been talking about this for, I think it's 11 years. Conan's been working on a show for HBO Max. Thursday, April 18th, Conan O'Brien Must Go will finally premiere. Last spring, Conan said, my friends around the globe never asked me to visit them, so I did. In Conan O'Brien Must Go, Conan O'Brien travels far and wide, setting himself down in Norway, Thailand, Argentina, and Ireland to meet some of the people he had previously interviewed for his podcast. He shared some footage showing him skewering stale food in the kitchen of a Norwegian rapper, kissing a python at a market in Thailand, and presenting to a young woman in Argentina a Larry David lookalike. She has a crush on the actual Larry David. Will there be more episodes? He says, we have a backlog of fans we want to get to. We made these 4, then we'll see. I'll translate. HBO Max has no money. You're not getting any more episodes of this, Conan. Conan said, there are some hilarious people around the world that I've talked to. I have a sense our country may sometimes be seen as not caring about the rest of the world. Sometimes. We can be seen like we just want to take care of America sometimes. I like going where my status is low. People are free to make fun of me. I can feel silly. I like to go other countries and be a little bit aware, a little bit uncomfortable with my surroundings, seeing what I can do, and if I can make people laugh. He calls this comic diplomacy. Do you attend Duke University? Well, then you're going to like the commencement speaker at the class of 2024. It will be Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry and his wife currently serve as national chairs of Duke's Parents Committee. Oh, Johnny Mac knows how this works. Let me guess. Yep, they are parents to a current Duke student and a Duke alumna, Jerry's children. Always funny how that works out. Jerry will receive an honorary Doctor of Arts degree during the ceremony. Congratulations, Dr. Seinfeld. Start throwing that title around. It worked out really well for Bill Cosby. Marion placed second at the 1988 WBCN Comedy Riot in Boston. He recently told WGBH, when I came in second as Sue McGinnis in the riot, that's when I started working. So I spent a lot of formative, traumatic time there doing one-nighters all over the New England area. He remembered doing a 9-hour drive to a gig in Maine where he opened for an X-rated hypnotist. What would that even be? Maron said, it was so developmental for me, performing for every type of New England audience. Coming back to this part of the world always seems familiar, a little bit like returning to where the trauma happened, but I still love it. Alex Edelman will have a special on HBO Max. It is called Just for Us and described as brisk, smart, and belly laugh funny. No date yet other than April. Alex Edelman gave a quotage, which was, when I was in high school, I saw John Updike give a talk, and he said, if you're lucky, the work that you write might at some point find itself in conversation with the times in which you live. And well, call me Mr. Lucky. There is a trailer. I will share it with you. I have made several edits here for pacing.
My name is Alex Edelman. I'm a comedian. And I'm going to tell you a story. It's a Tuesday night. And I see this tweet, and I sent it to my best friend in the world. And I wrote, David, do you want to come with me to this meeting of Nazis in Queens? People are just pulling up chairs. It's like a semicircle, or like an anti-semicircle.
So yes, as you heard in Just for Us, Edelman decides to go to a meeting of white nationalists and comes face to face with the people behind the keyboards. The Guardian wrote, Jerrod Carmichael is a superb stand-up. If only he'd stop checking his phone on stage. Oh, Jeremy dropped the G there. The Queens came out. Checking his phone on stage. When Sarah Silverman took the stage at Hammersmith Apollo one night in 2008, she could have been more hip or more hyped. America's most cutting-edge comic came among us. 45 measly minutes later, her reputation, at least among shortchanged London comedy-goers, was in tatters. I will circle back to that. Just put that in the back of your brain for a second. The Guardian says they were reminded of this at Soho this week when Jerrod Carmichael made a rare UK appearance and went down like a dead shark. At least Carmichael's gig didn't end like Silverman's with a crowd in open revolt. The mood was more bemusement that one of the world's most revered comics should self-sabotage. The trick with stand-up has always been to feign spontaneity to appear to be coming up with stuff out of the blue. He does not pull it off here. Yes, there are flashes of comic power. The riff on Kanye is the only black man white people freely criticize. But mainly it's just Carmichael scrolling on his phone, more interested in his reputation than his audience. He doesn't stand for much of the gig, despite the fact that sitting on the stage renders him barely visible to most of the audience. The audience's phones were impounded before the gig, ironic, given how little here is worth recording. One woman heckled and said, "They made us put our phones in little bags. They should have made you do the same with yours." So I was curious about the Sarah Silverman thing. I found an article in The Guardian from October 2008. The headline, "Sarah Silverman's UK debut was no laughing matter." Back then they wrote, "Sarah Silverman ticks a lot of boxes for me. She's subversive, consistently inventive, politically right on, and sexy. I'm not normally a big fan of the taboo-busting comedy that's her stock in trade. But since her turn on The Aristocrats, where she spun a crafty tale mixing up something horrible I don't even want to voice here, and the American light entertainment industry, I've been one of Silverman's increasingly numerous British fans. That is, until she or perhaps her promoters did everything possible to shake as many of us off as they could. 3,500 tickets at a cool £50 in 2008 currency. I'll let somebody else do the math there. So what kind of evening's entertainment does that get you? It began with a wait of over an hour due to a technical fault. We got into the venue at 8 o'clock. Half an hour later, the show started kind of. Matt Berry and Rich Fulcher came on and engaged in 3 minutes of forced banter with the audience. And then they introduced the proper support act, Steve Agee, who wasn't there. It's not Agee's fault he was sick, but who decided not to bother booking a replacement? We got a blink and you'll miss it video message from Agee, a trailer for Silverman's new TV series, and then the headline act herself, all 40 minutes of her, factor in an encore consisting of 5 minutes of Q&A, hastily improvised after it became clear that the slow hand-clapping crowd weren't going to leave otherwise. The evening ended with Silverman telling the audience to go home at 9:25 p.m. On your TV tonight, Girls 5 Eva returns for season 3, this time on Netflix. That had previously been on Peacock. I watched the first episode and I liked it a lot and was going to watch more, but it wasn't available to me on whatever cheap tier of Peacock I pay for. Anyway, this will be on Netflix now. I suspect this will pop now that it's on Netflix, as shows sometimes do when it goes to that platform. Some new albums to tell you about. Caitlin Pelufo's new album, Dirty Bird, is available wherever comedy is streamed and sold. On Dirty Bird, Caitlin Pelufo addresses the struggles of growing up softball skinny, the benefits of dating her young and short fiancé, and the complexities of creepy feminism. Track 6 is called We Demand Girth. Track 13 has 2 words in the title. The second word, raccoon. The first word rhymes with fizz. Wow. I don't want to make it look like I'm a prude here. I'm not at all. I try to keep the comedy clean here, and fizz raccoon, but not quite, makes me laugh. Richard Cervate has a new album coming out, also on Blonde Medicine's label, April 12th. This one's called They're Gonna Know, an exploration of this modern world we live in where trolls no longer live in caves, but abound in incel forms in the cloud. The internet is out of hand, and Richard is not afraid to say it. In fact, Richard isn't sure if he's had a real-life interaction in years, and it shows in this weirdly detached but somehow relatable style. The album also tells the story of, I hope this isn't true, Richard buying 300 bitcoins when they were $1 and spending them on magic mushrooms. That would turn out to be a about $7 million trip. I hope that's a joke. There's also a story about a girl on a dating app who refused to go 3 miles to see him at a bar despite her profile saying that she loves to travel. That sounds very funny. The bio, Richard Cervate is like John Wick if his dog never died, so pretty chill. Let's see if he has any funny track titles. Track 7, Judgy Robots. Track 11, Shut Up, Lionel Richie. You want to own Richard Pryor's old house? This is the one where he set himself on fire in 1980. It's on the market. It's known as Hacienda de los Sueños. It's a gated walled property currently owned by a former NFL player. Richard Mendenhall, he has set the price at $4.236 million, and that's not a random number. It's an homage to his total rushing yards. He had his career of 4,236. Bought the house in 2017 for $2.5 million. Mendenhall told Mansion Global, your home for comedy news, I'm a fan of Richard Pryor. He's iconic, and I feel a special connection to him because we're both from Illinois. I'm from Skokie, and he's from Peoria. He's a man of such magnitude that when I saw the property, I thought what was good enough for him is good enough for me. Pryor bought the house in the mid-'70s. He sold it in '89 for $940,000. And the Toronto Guardian caught up with comedian Angelica Scanura. How would she describe her comedy style? She said, brash and in your face, with lots of wild act-outs and unique observations about mostly relatable things. Influences, Adrienne Appalucci because of her razor-sharp joke writing and risk-taking, Katt Williams for his stage presence, and Ali Wong for being fierce doing it all and making her own rules. That's a great list. Her favorite comedian growing up? I started listening to Dane Cook in high school when he blew up on MySpace. I was drawn to him because he did such act-outs, and that piqued my interest because I love physical comedy. I remember lip-syncing his albums in my bedroom and pretending I was on tour, which, looking back, was very foreshadowing behavior. Favorite comedian right now, Jessica Kirson. Favorite pre-show ritual? She says, I do bizarre theater school warm-up exercises, barking like a dog on all fours, tongue twisters, and jumping jacks to physically release the nerves, just to name a few. And that is your comedy news for today. If you like what I do here, buy me a coffee. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. I will take your money. I will go to the National Donuts chain, and I will grab myself a large iced coffee with caramel and milk. You'll find me there every morning at around 7:15, give or take. See you tomorrow.